Bonjour et bienvenue dans la cuisine française.
If conjugating verbs isn't your idea of an interesting way to learn a language, then latest research at Newcastle University could be just the thing for you. Language experts and computer scientists have developed an innovative kitchen that gives lessons in cooking and French at the same time. It tracks your actions with motion sensor technology, similar to a Nintendo Wii, and it speaks to you like a car's sat-nav as you prepare your dish. Professor Paul Seedhouse is involved in the linguistics side of the project.
This research has been based on previous research done by my colleague Patrick Olivier in computing science in Newcastle. He developed a digital kitchen for people with dementia. So, for example, if they left the oven on for too long, it would tell them to turn it off. And when I saw that, I thought that the technology could be adapted for use with language learning and teaching.
Très bien. Commençons à cuisiner.
When you enter the kitchen, it looks pretty much like an ordinary kitchen. Some of the differences you'll notice if you look at the kitchen equipment, a knife and a spoon, the handles are larger than normal. That's because they have sensors embedded. And this technology you may be familiar with already. It's similar to Nintendo Wii technology. So there are sensors and they detect movement in all directions. The kitchen will then speak to you in French. And that's similar to sat-nav, which you're probably familiar with already in your car.
Pesez 100 grammes de farine.
Weigh 100 grams of flour.
When you're actually doing the cooking, you have a number of alternatives open to you. You can request a repetition, or you can ask for a translation, or you can pause the program, you can go backwards and forwards. After doing cooking, then we give you some tests, and these show us whether you've learnt the vocabulary and the grammar items which we've targeted. But a really important point about this learning environment is that we put people in pairs. And typically one person's better at French, one person's better at cooking, and that means that they transfer the skills and they help each other to learn.
Aujourd'hui, nous allons cuisiner un clafoutis aux poires.
The recipe we've got is called pear clafoutis, and it tells you first of all to peel the pears. So first of all it tells you to take 4 pears. And the system then detects that you've taken the package of pears and you've moved it onto the work surface. It then tells you to take the peeler, and so the sensor in the peeler will then detect that you've taken it over, it's been moved, and then the system will then detect whether you've made the correct peeling motion with your peeler on the pears. When you've done that, it'll tell you to cut the pears into 4. So then it'll look and see, have you taken the knife? Has the knife moved over to the surface? And then have you made the correct chopping motion with the knife? If you don't make a chopping motion with the knife, let's say you move it from side to side, it won't detect that as correct, and so the system will loop back and give you the instructions again.
N'oubliez pas la farine.
Don't forget the flour.
Dan Jackson and Jürgen Wagner are involved in the technical aspects of the project. They explained more about the small sensing devices that are embedded in the kitchen utensils.
Fundamentally, we're interested in understanding how the objects are used and how they're being manipulated. We've developed this hardware that actually detects the motion, uses something called an accelerometer, which is a device that measures acceleration.
The accelerometer inside tracks the smallest movements you do with your hands, the smallest movement you do with the utensils. These are called also motion primitives. And this information is sent over to a computer which acts as a base station. And this base station translates these simple activities, these motion primitives, into something more meaningful in, was it a chopping activity, a steering activity, or whatever activity we can measure.
So for instance, if you pick up a utensil, the device will wake up from a sort of a sleep state and it will start broadcasting its motion to the computer. And then on the computer we can analyse that information and work out what that object has been used for. Chopping with a knife would give us a different signal to someone scraping or slicing with the same knife.
Depends on what you want to measure. If you want to measure that the person is following the recipe, then you can track the user through the recipe, seeing when did which activity occur. Was the activity at this current moment the activity we expected, or was it a totally different activity? And this you can use then to prompt or to guide the user through the recipe and check if it's being done correctly.
90 grammes de sucre.
Is that 80 or 90?
90, I think 90, 90.
Yeah, 90 grams of sugar. Wait, careful, wait.
Bon.
C'est bon!
Et voilà, vous avez terminé. Il ne reste plus qu'à attendre que le clafoutis soit cuit.
Well done, you've prepared a clafoutis.
As well as making learning fun, Paul Seedhouse says the kitchen builds on the proven technique of task-based language learning, where students are prompted by instructions in the language they're studying to carry out activities. There are now further plans to take the concept out to a wider audience.
Well, on the point of view of language learning and teaching, it's unique because it's taking the ideas, the excellent ideas of task-based learning and teaching out of the classroom and, if you like, into the kitchen. So you're combining it with a real-world task. It's also unique in that you're learning two skills at the same time, in other words, French skills and cooking skills. So we already have the full-scale digital kitchen in Newcastle University, but we've now developed a series of portable kitchens which we take out on roadshows. It's basically tablet PC, 6 implements and a pair of speakers, so it's very portable. And we're wanting to put those into schools in the northeast. We've also got a big grant from the European Union, and we're going to be placing portable kitchens in 4 different countries in Europe and trying them out there.
The research is supported by the Digital Economy programme run by the Engineering and Physical Sciences Research Council. In the future, this way of learning could be used to teach people any number of skills, ranging from nursing to driving. The new type of kitchen could be available for schools, universities and even the domestic market by the end of 2012.